Channel 5 spares no expense. This isn't the kind of boat I wanted.
An offbeat crime thriller tonight. Kevin Kline and Susan Sarandon star in The January Man at 9:05. That is Mr. Brown, the October Man.
Football on 5, sponsored by Soccernet.com. They tried.
It's just not happening for Scotland at the moment.
And tried.
Oh, it's agonising.
And tried.
I think there's an invisible barrier in front of this goal.
It was nearly one of those nights against the part-timers of San Marino until first Matt Elliott, then Don Hutchison stepped up to salvage some pride and the points. But Scotland can't afford to be so wasteful tonight against World Cup semi-finalists Croatia. Any lapses are sure to receive the ultimate punishment. So, a real test awaits Craig Brown's injury-ravaged squad here at the Maksimir Stadium in Zagreb. Scotland against Croatia live is coming right up. Good evening. Well, Scotland may have maximum points so far, but tonight's opponents are no Latvia or San Marino. Joining me again is Pat Nevin, and I'll be talking to him in just a couple of minutes. First, though, we can hear from our man in the Scotland camp, Steve Lee.
The city of 1,000 smiles, Zagreb, where east meets west, is yet another stop-off on the Tartan Army World Tour. The Scots are in town and the locals are happy to join in the fun. There's real warmth in the welcome, and that applies to the two managers, Craig Brown and Miroslav Blažević. At their joint press conference, more hilarity than hard-hitting questions. The Croatians say they're afraid of the Scots, but is that really all tongue-in-cheek?
I know Mr. Blažević very well, and we're personally friendly, so there was a wee bit of, as you say, smokescreen stuff. I think, you know, he's pulling our legs by telling us that Sukar will play. I think he's maybe trying to increase the crowd and create interest in the match, but we'll be ready if he does play.
Heavy rain a la Glasgow forced the Scots to a local second division club for training. A depleted look to the squad, 4 have gone home. Only Craig Burley has returned for what could be the toughest international of the season. Scotland's most testing qualification match so far sees them without 6 key players and facing what Craig Brown calls the second most talented side in Europe, next to France that is. It's going to be a tall order.
If we get a point, we go back with 7 points. If we sneak a win, you know, and we play well and we defend well, you never know. But no doubt we'll have to do a lot of defending in the game, and complete contrast to the San Marino game, I've got to say.
The Croatians, despite their mercenary tag, have this match clearly in focus. Their galaxy of talents and technical skills make them clear favourites, and they know it.
To be honest, we are not thinking about Scottish side too much. We are thinking to concentrate on our game as much as possible, because we know the Scottish side will be looking for a point here, so everything will be on us.
So Scotland fiercely under the spotlight. It often brings out the best in them. Let's hope it does tonight.
And Pat, 2 out of 2 so far away from home. If they get a point tonight, it's mission accomplished, isn't it?
It would be fantastic, a point tonight, to go back with 7 points, as Craig Burley just said there. They settle for that any day of the week.
Loads of injuries and an unfamiliar lineup. What do you make of it? Would you have given the same players, would you have picked the same?
Well, number one, the lineup's changed. The personnel are different, but the system's exactly the same. It's a system that Craig Brown likes. It's 3-5-2. He'll be delighted with that. That's the people he wants. I think the only possible change he was thinking about was Cameron maybe not playing and bringing in Gary Holt to man-mark Prosinecki. But apart from that, I think his mind was made up, and I think Blažević knew exactly who he was going to pick. He was right.
Yeah, the kidology about Davos Sukar is all finished now. Who's key for you tonight for Scotland?
For Scotland, I think it's probably Craig Burley. He's came back into the squad here, and he's probably going to be asked to have a holding role. Of the players, the 6 players that are missing for Scotland, Lambert's the key. He's the one that they would rather have had holding in that deep man in midfield. But Cameron, Burley, Hutchinson, all players that like to go forward. None of them natural setters.
OK, Pat, well, it kind of escaped your notice that there was another World Cup qualifier being played of some importance tonight, and the result was a goalless draw for England in Finland, not what they wanted. And by the way, at half-time we'll be crossing to the Channel 5 newsroom for a bulletin which will include a special report from that game. So it's 2 out of 2 for Scotland on the road so far. Can they make it a perfect 3? Well, we're not far away from finding out. A few minutes away now, Pat, we were talking before the break about the lineup of the Scottish side. What about the Croatian side? I mean, they're packed full of world-class stars, aren't they?
They've got some extreme talent. The teams they play for all over the world, real top players.
Who stands out, Boksic?
Well, Boksic particularly just now, because a striker who's in form. He's never actually got to the level he should have got to through his career. Injuries and some bad moves with teams he shouldn't have gone to, but a really top player. And when he's on his game, like he is right now, he's a serious danger to anyone.
And what about Prozinecki?
Well, he's your classic, brilliant Balkan maverick, isn't he? You know, Hadji, Stoichkov, that kind of player. Apparently smokes like a lum, 60 a day. But a really, really brilliant
sort of
player.
Man.
yeah, you gotta like him, you know. But you know, if you get somebody that could close him down and stay with him, because he's not obviously going to be the fittest player on the field, but he is possibly going to be the most talented player on that field.
They've got a lot of experience in there, haven't they? But there are so many other names that we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, I think Craig Brown, I talked to Craig Brown last week, and he's particularly impressed by Yarney, who comes up the left, and he calls a lot of dangerous crosses from there, and that's why we brought Tom Boyd in to cut out him coming forward, and Tom's a more naturally defensive player in that position. But you know, Balaban is another one that no one's really talked about because we were all more concerned about Sukia, but apparently one of the younger players in this outfit and really highly rated, and he'll be the next one to move to a top Italian or German club.
We don't want to get too negative though, do we? I mean, if you look at Scotland's away form in competitive matches, wins against Germany, wins against England, it's not bad, is it?
Haven't lost in 7 away games. I mean, it's a great run they're on just now. It has to come to an end sometime, and this is the thing you'd expect to, but I don't know, I've got a sneaking feeling if Scotland, like Craig says, get it in their minds that they need to really fight their way through this one and close down. And as I say, they're back into the formation they feel most comfortable with. They've got a lot of good defensive players in there. Tom Boyd will add a wee bit more to it as well. And they're guys that know and are used to playing with each other, so they have got a chance.
He's sticking with, probably because he has to, Colin Hendry. I mean, is he a worry for you, considering he's had really no competitive football this season? He started once for Coventry, I think.
I think a lot of the Scottish fans were looking at the game against England when we lost 2 goals, and Colin was maybe a wee bit slow to react in some of them. But I mean, he'll give you everything he's got, and certainly if he is the best we've got, and he does raise himself for all these games, I know that the Scottish media and Scottish press will be right down Colin's throat if it goes wrong for him tonight, and I certainly hope for the big man it doesn't.
OK, the anthems have just finished in Zagreb. We can go straight over to our commentary team now. Billy McNeil, and first, John Helm.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good evening, everybody. A fine, clear night here in Zagreb for a massive match for Scotland here in Group 6. And the players are lining up again now, and there's going to be a tribute to Donald Dewar, the First Minister for Scotland, who, as everybody must know at home, died today tragically at the age of 63. As I understand it, the referee, who is from France this evening, will summon the 2 captains, who tonight are Colin Hendry, leading Scotland on the occasion of his 48th cap, and Robert Yarney, who is winning his 64th cap. Nobody has won more for Croatia. But now the crowd are being asked to stand for the 1-minute silence in tribute to Donald Dewar. Very long announcement on the tannoy system, but the people of Croatia did know of Donald Dewar. Our taxi driver bringing us to the stadium this evening was talking about the impact that he'd had on life in Scotland. And the 2 captains are making the toss to decide which side will play which. The 2 teams breaking, and still they've not got round to the 1-minute silence. And now indeed the referee is blowing the whistle for the silence for Donald Dewar. Well, quite naturally, Craig Brown has had to ring the changes and has surprised no one with this selection. 4 of the starters in San Marino are missing. Christian Daly, Jackie McNamara, Neil McCann, all through injuries. Billy Dodds, whose wife has given birth to a baby daughter. And Dodds did offer to fly back, but Craig Brown declined the offer and instead plumped for this formation. Alan Johnston, who replaces Dodds for his first start in 12 months, has a drifting role. Colin Hendry will have the onerous task of marking Boksic. There's a place too in the starting lineup for Tom Boyd. As for Croatia, Miroslav Blažević has had to concede that Davor Suker is out, so young Balaban will play up front in the attack alongside the in-form Alan Boksic. And we are underway with Scotland playing in the dark blue shirts this evening and white shorts. And Croatia are playing in a very natty number of white shirts with the red checks and blue shorts. The referee in the centre of your picture is Gilles Vessière of France, very experienced man who's officiated at many World Cup matches and European matches, Champions League games. And Scotland are building an attack through Tom Boyd, who has been brought in with the injured Jackie McNamara, one of those having gone home. Well, it took them a long time in San Marino to get into the game, Scotland, or not to get into the game, but certainly get among the goals. But on that occasion, I remember Craig Brown saying, we will play better in Zagreb. We shall see over the next hour and a half. And Robert Prosinecki there is one man that Craig Brown and Archie Knox alongside him. No, they have to worry about. Prosinecki, by the way, doesn't talk to his coach. Indeed, he refused to play. And at the moment, I think he's being ordered to remove some jewellery. Unusual start to the game. There is Blažević on the end there, the veteran coach of Croatia. It's the first time these countries have ever met since Croatia resumed playing international football under that banner. Scotland did once play here against Yugoslavia. The news from Helsinki is that England have drawn their match with Finland. The final score there in Helsinki, Finland 0, England 0. Oh, Billy McNeil, that's not a great result for England, but Scotland would certainly settle for a similar scoreline tonight.
That scoreline, I think, would be very satisfactory to Scotland. The most important thing is, I think they get the system right and get themselves involved in the game early. They don't want to give up too much territory or too much of the ball to Croatia.
Here is David Weir playing on the left of the 3 central defenders alongside Colin Hendry and Matt Elliott. His introduction necessitated by Christian Daly's broken nose. He's another of those who has flown home. And good that Billy Dodds offered to come back, but he had a sleepless night, I understand, with the arrival of their first baby. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Dodds, but Craig Brown thought it wasn't ideal preparation for an international match of this stature. Prosinecki, who has now removed his jewellery to the satisfaction of the French official. Played wide by Saric. Saric is the one player that Craig Brown doesn't know a great deal about. He plays with Panathinaikos, but has missed the last few internationals, returns tonight. Croatia, by the way, have made 3 changes from their last game, also a World Cup qualifier against Belgium, which they drew 0-0. It's a stadium this that holds about 40,000, the maximum here, but I would say it's not even half full.
No, it's not, but you know, already there's some ominous signs for Scotland, because I think Prosinecki, as far as I'm concerned, is getting far too much of the ball, and he is a very, very skillful player, very accomplished playmaker, and if someone doesn't get close to him and give him the room that he's given just now, then we're going to have 1 or 2 problems.
Scotland are pushed back now, and there's a free kick for them here. The trick was on Niko Kovac, and this is in a very handy position indeed for Croatia. Prosinecki can hardly wait to get there to take it. Foul by Don Hutchison. Well, those fans are noisy, very, very noisy. And The one thing that Scotland cannot afford is to concede a goal early in this match. They've kept 7 clean sheets in their last 10 games. Tonight is a very, very different task to the one that faced them just 4 days ago. It is Prosinecki, and he does fire it through, but Neil Sullivan, to his credit, got his angles right, got his wall right, and made a comfortable save.
Yeah, I think that Neil Sullivan was always in command of that. He got his wall right, they stood up to things, never going to cause him any problems. Really, probably do him a lot of good, build his confidence up just a little bit.
That's probably the first save he's had to make in 2 internationals. I don't think he made one in San Marino.
He hardly touched the ball at all, John, did he?
Taking it up through midfield now, Zvonimir Soldo, who plays his football in Germany with Stuttgart, which by coincidence is where Prosinecki was born. Prosinecki, it has to be said, got a mixed reception from the crowd when his name was announced on the public address system here. That's another free kick given away. Scotland conceding too many in and around their own area.
It's always a dangerous practice that to give free kicks away in and around there, particularly against teams that have got boys that can play useful balls. And really, Prosinecki, as far as I'm concerned, is getting far too much room already, and might well prove to be difficult for Scotland later on.
Croatia have flung almost everybody forward here. There's only the goalkeeper in their own half. They've left nobody back on the halfway line even. So the Scots are totally committed to defending here. So naturally they pull everybody behind the ball too. And even the referee's jockeying for a position, and it's dangerous, and it's over the top. Arms are raised in front of me. Croatia coming close twice in the opening 5 minutes. Alan Boksic, a man who really is in top form at the moment with Middlesbrough.
Well, it was a good delivery from Prosinecki right into the heart of that area. Boksic will be annoyed with himself because he got a good header on it but didn't direct it onto the target.
In fact, I think Stimac also got a touch on it in there. And there were 2 of them climbed up for that ball. And Scotland have big men themselves in this man Elliott and in Hendry and in Weir at the back to counter them. But you made a comment, Billy, when the sides came out, that what a physically strong looking side Croatia are. It's almost akin to a rugby match, what's going on down there. Eventually he emerges with the ball, Kovac, but Cameron couldn't get it clear. The only man left up there battling on his own and winning the free kick is Kevin Gallagher. It's nice to see, isn't it? The Scottish painting on the Croatian face.
Yeah, I think one thing that's important, going to be very important tonight, is that obviously Scotland are going to need a relief from pressure on them at the back, and it's very, very important that Alan Johnson, Kevin Gallagher, when they get it, can hold it up to allow some support to come from that midfield.
We are a hopeful ball forward, but should be easily covered. Well, they've got some real skill, these Croatians, and that's a ball that had to be cut out and was by the excellent Elliott, scorer of the first goal in San Marino. Now becoming a permanent fixture in this Scottish defence again. He did miss 3 matches through suspension, of course. Stimac with the clearance, the West Ham United and former Derby County player. So here comes Scotland with Gallagher. Chances here for them to build. Johnston, and it's a floated ball and a header, which unfortunately from Scotland's point of view Tom Boyd doesn't get too much sting into. And now the counter is straight away on, and it's Hendry. Oh, what a great servant Colin Hendry has been, and that typified his approach to the game. Johnston drifting from left to right. I did say in my opening, he's got the licence from Craig Brown to drift around Alan Johnston, and he's done it to good effect.
Well, the important thing once again, John, is that they hold up the ball and allow support to come from midfield. We saw Tom Boyd having a header there just a minute or two ago, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we need.
Free kick Scotland, the closest they've been, and Yanni has conceded something to Craig Brown's side here. Pointed away, there was a bit of kidology going on yesterday, I think, between Craig Brown and his opposite number for Croatia. They were all very pally, very chummy. But both were saying they feared the opposition. Lazovic certainly said that he was very anxious about playing Scotland. Driven long. Oh, and an unfortunate slip inside the area there. It was David Weir had got forward, and this is a promising move again from Scotland. No free kick for them. But there appears to be plenty of pace there and plenty of positive approach play from the Scots. Kovac. It's Robert Kovac, who plays for Bayer Leverkusen. And Saric. Hoisted across dangerously. Ending with the marking. And it was a clear opportunity, which is spurred by the striker Balaban. But he was allowed to bring the ball down without challenge.
Well, he's drifted away from Colin Henry. He's made himself a little bit of space in the box and really snatched at the chance because he got it under control, and really feel that he should have been hitting the target. But look, he's got away from Colin Henry and really has a very, very good chance to hit the target.
I do think one major concern for Scotland is that people like Hendry and Craig Burley haven't had much first team football. Well, the Croatians already looking menacing, and the slip here by Hendry might just let Balaban in. Well, they massed the ranks quickly there, the Scots, and they have to do, and they have a free kick of their own. It's a very physical contest, Billy McNeil.
Well, they're a very powerful looking side, and obviously they're up for this game. I felt that was a little bit of a silly challenge, to be quite frank with you, because there wasn't an awful lot that Alan Johns could have done with the ball in that position, but we'll take the fouls. It'll give Scotland a little bit of relief at the back, and obviously hope that we can get up to the game.
The UEFA delegate there telling Archie Knox, I think, and Craig Brown just to resume their seats. One or two heated exchanges down on the touchline perhaps as well. Naismith playing second consecutive international, the Hearts man. Then Hutchison. Good play once more. Johnston and Cameron have done well so far, but now it's Prosinecki. Always has that ability to look up, and he can drift the ball through here. What an opening this is for Croatia. It's going to cross. Oh, and it slithers through the penalty area. They can't believe it. I'm not sure I can believe it either. The Scots were absolutely torn apart there by Saric.
Well, it was all set up by Prosinecki. Knew exactly where Saric was. Saric, I think, was caught between two things there, whether to have a shot or whether to just play across the front of the goal, but he did neither. But then again, Balaban was not all that far from converting it in any event. But once again, Prosinecki got a little bit of space and immediately burst the Scottish defence open.
The referee's just having a quiet word with Alan Johnston. Well, maybe not so quiet. I think the area of concern there for the Scots, though, is the amount of space that was found down that right-hand side by Daniel Saric to accept the pass from Prosinecki. That man Prosinecki again is conducting the play at the moment. Rides another challenge from Hutchison. Prosinecki manoeuvring for the shot. He wanted it on the right foot. Oh, they're posing big problems here, but the referee has come to the aid of Craig Brown's side by indicating he thought that was a dive. Well, it's been an uncomfortable start for Scotland, although, to be fair, they've looked quite positive themselves going forward.
Well, I think what Craig has told them, I think he's told them to get back, see what they can do by covering up in defence, but immediately they get the ball, he's looking for Johnson, he's looking for Gallagher to hold up, and we saw Tom Boyd get into the box, and I think we'll see a bit more of that when Scotland are in possession, but I think the biggest problem they've got just now is Prozinecki. He's got to be killed, somebody's got to get close to him and not allow him that space.
How many times have we mentioned Prozinecki, and he's there again, setting things in motion. And it's a long and a high cross which will not trouble Neil Sullivan this time. But if there is an area of trouble for Scotland, it is down that far side in the left back position.
Well, basically what's happening is both Balaban and Boxic are taking up positions through the inside channels, but they're attracting the back three, and immediately the Croatians getting control of the ball. There's immediately movement from behind, and they're making good use of that space, certainly.
Touched on by Kovac. And Saric, great ball, here's Boxic into the area, has to score this time! There was just no stopping him, and Croatia have got their goal. Alan Boxic has been scoring so regularly in the English Premier League for Middlesbrough, has taken his chance. Scotland are trailing here. Beautifully constructed goal and coolly taken.
Well, the Croatians they're ready to play the early pass, but look at the quality of the pass. Brilliant control by Boxic. He's always in control of the situation and takes it to Clunbridge. But look at the distance the ball has travelled. Playing the ball in beside Scotland's defensive three, and Boxic had no problem with the conversion. Excellent goal. But really disappointing for Scotland. They've got three defenders. They were all cut out with the same pass, and it's not been a good start now.
Oh, wasn't it lovely control from Boxic though? He got in there behind Matt Elliott, and the first touch was the critical one there. He took it down magnificently, and it was just so easy for him. He passed the ball into the net.
Well, he was always in control of it, John. A lovely pass from the back, travelled a long way, but Boxic timed his run. He drew away from Matt Elliott, got in behind him, and before you knew it, the ball was net. But you're right, his first touch was absolutely magnificent, and the quality of the finish was brilliant.
It was that man Saric again with the cross. He's a big thorn in Scotland's side at the moment, as indeed is Prozinecki, and as indeed now is Alan Boxic. Well, the Scots really have to settle down now. That's exactly what they couldn't afford. The first goal they've conceded in this World Cup qualifying group in their third game, of course, and they're looking here from Hutchinson. Well, he does respond with goals, Don Hutchinson, no doubt about that. 6 in 12 appearances is a very healthy ratio.
Well, he has got a good goal scoring record for Scotland, and he is prepared to get into the box. Then again, we're seeing that Croatian goal. Look at the quality of that and the finish. It's as though it was a Sunday afternoon in the public park. He said, there's the ball behind you, Neil Sullivan.
Boxic's 9th goal for his country. Well, he cost Middlesbrough £2,500, and he's proving to be worth every single penny of it at the moment. And how Croatia are enjoying the current form of Alan Boxic, who has been cruelly struck down by injuries over recent years. But I remember in his Juventus days, he used to pose problems for Manchester United quite regularly. Here he is now with Hendry. This time Scotland do manage to calm things down a little, and the ball can be taken away by Sullivan. Hendry's just feeling a slight knock there. Craig Brown's resources certainly depleted. Here it is yet again, and look at that first touch.
Well, the first touch was brilliant. The criticism I would have is that when you're playing three defenders, the two who are supposed to pick up must pick up. The spare defender must always be lying that bit further back so he can walk onto things. But they got caught a bit square, and bingo, you saw the quality of Boxic's finish.
Just relating there to the depleted forces, and Scotland without Neil McCann, Paul Lambert, Barry Ferguson, Jackie McNamara, Christine Daly and Billy Dodds. Half a dozen top-class players out. So without saying it's down to the bare bones, it's not far off. Prosinecki again just able to stand and look up and see what he wants to do, and they're teasing Scotland here again now. They've got big problems at the moment, Scotland. Prosinecki's going to fire it out for that right side yet again. This is where all the danger is coming from. Naismith's trying to hold him up this time. It's a useful ball in. Boksic is up for it. Headed into the area and headed away this time by David Weir. You really fear for Scotland at the moment. They've got to weather this particular storm.
Well, this is a period in the game that they're going to have to live through. They're going to have to get to grips with things. Obviously, on either side, Croatia find a little bit of width, and Boksic looks a real threat.
Yanni's throw. Hendry meets it. Only as far as Prosinecki. Once more, Robert Yanni. Elliott's head this time. Oh, this is a bit of a different proposition to San Marino. Johnston trying to give the Scots some breathing space. And that's one of the reasons he's been included by Craig Brown ahead of Paul Dickoff. He thinks that Johnston and Kevin Gallagher will hold the ball up for Scotland tonight when they do get it. But at the moment, well, it's all hands to the pump in defence. Stimac. Now Dario Simic, who plays for Inter Milan. There's only one of this Croatian side actually plays here in Croatia. That's the striker Balaban, who plays at this ground for Dinamo. Another lofted ball, and Boksic was there again, but so was Hendry, fortunately. Well, they've always said that Colin Hendry's a man who loves a crisis, and you get the feeling that Scotland have got one on their hands at the moment, because this is a talented side they're playing. Led by this man Boksic, and this man Prosinecki. They're struggling to contain them. Boksic again kills the ball, thinks of the shot. They're just not releasing possession, are they? Yanni now. Scotland with 10 behind the ball. Now they are going the right way, but not for very long. It's going to be a real education for young players like Colin Cameron and Gary Naismith tonight. Stepping forward this time is Robert Kovac. Saric. Prosinecki rolling his foot over the ball. And the first false pass I think we've seen from the foot of Prosinecki, who's always been amongst the most talented players in Europe. Unfortunately for Croatia, he's had a running battle with the coach over a decade or more. But he still plays. Boksic again. And a foul by the man. But how many touches of the ball have Prosinecki and Boksic had already?
Well, both of them are very much up for the game, and Prosinecki in particular has been given far too much from as I'm concerned. You know, we felt, I think, before the game that Craig Burley would get close to him, but it looks as though Don Hutchison's been detailed to get close to him when Croatia are in possession, but it's not
Hendry,
working too well.
And Hendry taken out, and the referee says no. Well, I would have sworn that there was a clear contact there with Colin Hendry as he was dribbling into the Croatian penalty area. We'll see in a moment whether it was inside or outside, but I would have sworn it was a foul.
I think he was just on the outside of the penalty area, but certainly it looked, as far as I was concerned, to be a foul. And all credit to Colin Hendry, came up, moved in with the attack and really got behind the Croatians, and I think that the French referee was wrong with that decision there.
Well, Hendry's still shaking his head in disbelief. Interesting to hear the thoughts of Pat Nevin at half-time on that one. Croatia 1, Scotland 0. But if there is encouragement for the Scots, it is when they're going forward, and Cameron to Gallagher, equaliser! Kevin Gallagher brings Scotland level, and the Croatians cannot believe it. I'm not sure Craig Brown can either, but it was Hendry who pumped Scotland forward, a moment or two earlier, and when this one comes in from Colin Cameron, Kevin Gallagher has to do no more than stab in his 9th goal for his country.
Well, Colin Cameron does really well on that right side, and Kevin Gallagher gets that one on a plate, and all credit to Scotland. They've been under the cosh, they've come out, swung an attack, and all of a sudden look at the quality of the ball in there, and Kevin Gallagher makes no mistake. All credit to them. They've had to get up off their backsides, get themselves into the game, and they've achieved that.
Well, he was so disappointed not to score on the occasion of his 50th cap against San Marino. He left the field very disappointed, dejected indeed. But tonight, Kevin Gallagher, who scored a goal here in Zagreb 12 years ago for Scotland's under-21 side, has repeated the trick. And well done, Colin Cameron there. The Heartsman showed great persistence.
Well, we did say earlier on that Craig's obviously given them the licence to break forward, and I felt Colin Cameron did well because the ball broke between him and the defender. He got up to get it quick, and a lovely pass between the defender and the goalkeeper, and Kevin Gallagher had no problem finishing it off.
Away goes Yardy now though. Hutchison lost possession. Oh, and a terrific tackle from Hendry. Relishing the occasion, Colin Hendry, as always. He may not be a regular at Coventry City these days, but put him in this dark blue shirt and he desperately wants to play, and to play well. Terrific response from Scotland, led by Cameron again here now. And the ball through, Gallagher's onside. Scotland can set up another one. Gallagher pulls it across, and it was so close to an own goal from Soldo. Well, they've got round the back once and set up a goal, and Gallagher got round the back again there, and they threatened to make it two.
Well, they're really having a go, and he gets in behind. He's got the opportunity to try a butt, and he almost gets that ball between the defender and the goalkeeper. All credit to Scotland,
who have a corner. Alan Johnston. Oh, that's a lovely play again, and Johnston can cross it from here. Hendry's header held on the line, but I think the ball had actually gone out of play. So don't get too excited back at home. It wouldn't have been a goal.
No, I think the linesman signalled for that the ball had crossed the line, but certainly Scotland have come back with a whole load of life, showing the Croatians that they're not going to lie down to it, and I think we're in for a wonderful game.
Well, that was the goal again. Cameron Gallagher, 1-1. Colin Cameron bit sole to pick himself up there out of Stimac's challenge, and he literally laid it on a plate for the scorer. And this might be the first yellow card coming up here. Indeed it is. And it's gone to Johnston. It's the second time that the French referee has spoken with Alan Johnston, and his patience has run out inside half an hour. 27 minutes played here. Terrific atmosphere. It really is a cracking atmosphere. We were saying that the stadium isn't full. It has filled up a bit after the kick-off, to be fair. Hendry in there, flinging his body on the line again. He's really up for it. That was a lovely shot you got of the Scottish fans flinging their giant frog around. And all credit to the Zagreb Tourist Board, who invited the Scottish fans around the Croatian National History Museum today, and the Grafico Imbecile Museum too. And they've really enjoyed their time here. They've had a couple of days in Zagreb, having come over from San Marino. Been a tremendous trip, hasn't it, Billy, for them? And you?
For the fans, it's been marvellous. Yeah, it's been a good trip for us all, especially if this game continues to go the way it's looking at the minute. Scotland have certainly settled down and are making an awful lot more progress towards the Croatian goal than perhaps we expected.
There it is again. Colin Cameron there. Stimac really slid on him, committed himself, Stimac, and once Cameron picked himself up, he knew exactly what he was going to do. So did Gallagher. Plenty of attacking options in there. Round the back again here, and the outstretched leg of Tom Boyd just fails to get another Scot in. Terrific pace to the game. This is exactly what the match on Saturday in San Marino wasn't. It's passionate. Prosinecki pulling the strings. Seems to have so much time, doesn't he? Oh, here's a problem as Soldo storms forward, taken on by Niko Kovac. He gets a rather withering look from Boksic with the quality of the pass, or poor quality. And that's not the best of clearances either, because Prosinecki's back in possession. Now Soldo. The little figure of Saric. Well, the cutback is there, but it's met by Weir. Pressure on Naismith. Does well to not concede the corner and to get the throw-in. I mentioned a moment ago, big match for Gary Naismith, this one.
Well, it is, but he's been a quick learner in his career so far, and he's going to have to learn obviously quickly in this game, but it just shows you how much Boksic is up for this game. You saw him chasing that ball right into the corners.
Yanni. They don't to have the ball too often, Saric, but as it was, he ran straight into Craig Burley. Good to see Craig Burley back. Season's been cruelly interrupted by injuries down at Derby County. The hand of friendship offered by Alan Johnston. I think having just been shown a yellow card 2 minutes early, that's not a bad move from the Rangers man. Stimac. Naismith getting in very sharply and letting Saric know that he's there. Kovac will be covered on this occasion by Cameron. Covered effectively too, so that Naismith can deliver a ball up towards Johnston at halfway. Hold it up well, that's exactly what Craig Brown wanted from Alan Johnston. But it's one back fair and square, no doubt about that. Slip through for Boksic, twisting, turning, but only into Burley. Trying to calm things down, the Scottish coach, who's 7 years in the job now, having succeeded Andy Roxburgh. Craig Brown's record, by the way, he's won exactly 30 matches out of his 63 and lost just 19. A very fair record indeed. In fact, they've won 10 of their last 17 matches. 1-1 and a good first half. I hope you're enjoying it back home. Just a reminder of that score in Helsinki again today. Also a World Cup qualifier, of course. England playing under Howard Wilkinson got a goalless draw against Finland, but I'm sure there is rather hope for a bit better than that. All the home countries in action tonight. Now this is as good as it gets internationally. It's tremendous football. The pitch is cutting up a little. It's a bit soft. It has been raining in Zagreb. Not so much today, but certainly yesterday. And Stimac will push it through for Boksic. And he can have another go. This time finds Prosinecki, who plays in Belgium these days at Standard Liège. Cleverly done. Full of skill, isn't he? Now Yanni. He's playing at Las Palmas in Spain at the moment. And a useful ball in. And although a Croatian went to ground, the referee was certainly not interested in the shout from Niko Kovac. Let's have another look. Well, there didn't seem to be anybody anywhere near him.
No, I didn't see very much in that at all. That the danger is they make good position on the edge of that box and float those balls in, and there's always the danger that someone has read the act and get in behind the Scottish defence.
This is that cross again. He did just slip away from his marker, who also got away from the scene pretty sharply. Now there's a challenge by Hendry that the referee is right on the spot for. The referee's been okay so far.
He's been very strict, John. I think that it's his intention not to let the game run away from him. Hence we've seen Alan Johnson been given the yellow card, but you know, the game hasn't been, there hasn't been any bad challenges in the game as such.
Prosinecki will be hounded here by Burley, but still manages to get a pass away. The Croatians have always had very technically gifted players. We saw that yesterday with their under-21 side as well, who beat the Scots 3-1 at Koprivnica. And they had some very talented young players indeed. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about in the future. Scotland actually led in that match, but they've done well here to come back from the concession of that early goal to Alan Boksic. You feared for Scotland at that time, and over the ensuing 5 or 10 minutes. Here come Croatia now, headed away by Weir. Craig Brown has great faith in David Weir. He said he's had excellent reports of his work at Everton this season.
Well, they seem to have settled down just a little bit better at the back there. I still think Prosinecki is still getting far too much through him, but I've noticed that Craig Burley in actual fact looks as though he's going to be paying a bit of attention to him, but he's still getting far too much through him and time on the ball.
10 minutes to go in this first half, an absorbing half as well. Among those watching it, by the way, the Liverpool coach, Gerard Houllier, who is over here. Also the Latvia coach, who people down in Cambridge may well remember, Gary Johnson, once the coach, manager of Cambridge United, but nowadays the coach of Latvia. Oh, here's a tricky little run inside the area. The shot is into the side netting. The final effort from Boksic might have had Craig Brown just worrying momentarily, but never from our angle looked as though it was going to trouble Sullivan. Nonetheless, another warning to Scotland.
Well, I don't think you can ignore this man. He fights for the ball here. A little bit of a skirmish here on the edge of the box. He'll be annoyed that he didn't hit the target there, but he certainly is putting everything into the game.
Not a good clearance though, and Cameron for Scotland. Forward now, Craig Burley. Kovac will be harassed here by Gallagher. Boksic rounds his man Elliott, tries to slip it through to Balaban. Just failed in that quest. Well, they do come in their thousands. 3,000 Scottish fans here in Zagreb, worrying again now because the ball reversed by Prosinecki. They need worry no longer. Not even Yanni can get to that one. The Tartan Army. And of course, without Davor Šuker tonight, the top goal scorer of all time for Croatia. What a wonderful record he has for his country. Not just the top scorer, he is by some considerable distance. He's missing tonight though, but Boksic isn't. He's definitely in there. Now it's Prosinecki. Danger again for Scotland. Prosinecki goes on. Last ditch clearance by Elliott. Yanni the next to step forward. Hendry doesn't get it out very far. Picked up by Saric now. Shout for a handball. Nobody wants to know. So Saric threads it in to Kovac. Well, a succession of clearances there from Matt Elliott and from Colin Hendry. Necessary too.
Well, they're looking an awful lot more solid and they're looking an awful lot more confident. They're still giving away a lot of possession on the outside of that box, and really the Croats are enjoying that, but at the back they're looking an awful lot more solid.
Oh, here they come again. It's Elliott away yet again. Well, it's a good job that Elliott and Hendry are there tonight for the Scots. They're working overtime. I was going to tell you about Šuker. He's actually scored 42 goals for his country. That is some record. But he's not out there tonight. He's watching in the stands. He attempted to train last minute, came out for about 7 minutes, and that was all he managed. So coach Blažević was playing games when he said that Šuka was 60-40 certain to play. Craig Brown got it right and knew he wasn't going to do. Forward again, Kovac on the charge, looking to get a corner out of this. That's going to be the corner indeed. Well, he's done well there, chasing what looked like a lost cause. Prosinecki is the one over there to take it. Again, Croatia have this ploy of bringing just about everybody in, which means that the Scots have to commit everybody to defend. They also play a corner routine where they roll it along the goal line, and that's what they were thinking of there. Saric now retreats, Prosinecki drives it in, there might be a shooting chance still for Yanni, and it's clipped off Scotland body, that of Naismith, for a successive corner. Key moments these, just 6 minutes before the break.
Very important for Scotland from a Scotland point of view. They don't lose anything at this stage, and they have settled an awful lot better, and they look as though they're capable of creating a real threat for Croatia. So it is very important they don't do anything silly at this stage.
Well, Stimac will be one of those in there for this. They have variations on their corners, and this is the in-swinger, which is met again by Hendry. Well, this is where you do need the old heads, isn't it? And Colin Hendry, cap number 48 for him. Matt Elliott only 12, but he's seen a lot of action in the English Premier League over the last few years at Leicester City. Nobody better to meet the challengers. Prosinecki again tricks and teases. Which way is he going to go? He'll square it. There might be a shot. There is, but it's a poor one from Daniel Saric. And the Scots survive.
Well, they did exactly the right thing there. They didn't dive in and let Prosinecki go past and make a little bit of space for himself. And really, when the ball was laid across the 18-yard, they came out quickly to put Saric, I think it was, under pressure.
Gallagher's come all the way back here. Ooh, and then he's had to play the ball over there to Hendry, who's going to be pursued by Boksic. Dealt with it again, Hendry. Distinct body check there has enabled Croatia to retain possession. Flick through to Kovac, Niko Kovac this is. Gets it back off the ricochet. Saric. Very nimble Saric, but not delivering a good cross that time. Much to the relief of the Scottish Armada here. Gallagher really has to battle hard to try and retain possession there, and he couldn't in the face of a stiff challenge from Simic. We mentioned before about how physically strong this Croatian side is. The strains of Flower of Scotland again in the background. They really do support the team wonderfully well, but I have to say that they were rather worried after 70 minutes in San Marino. Simic. Now Prosinecki. Just seems to turn up everywhere, doesn't he? Simic and Prosinecki just playing keep ball for the time being, before Stimac gets his turn. Oh, he's confused Cameron, has he? But no, Cameron's sticking like glue. He's a real battler, Colin Cameron. And he's impressed in his contributions so far tonight, but there's some more defending to do now for Scotland. That is no free kick again. But they're still around here, and this time there will be a corner because the ball thuds off the knee of Gary Naismith and out for the corner. Well, certainly ahead on those.
Scotland just had a little bit difficult to get rid of the ball there, and you saw how well the Croatian midfield supported their front players.
90 seconds to the break, 90 seconds to hang on. It's Yanni. The Scots are urged to get out as quickly as possible. Smashed over to Prosinecki. That was a 60-yard ball which found the mark. Stimac is still forward. So is Prosinecki now. The Scots retreat. Prosinecki crosses too long. Again, all arms are raised and then dropped in front of me in horror. Well, Billy McNeil, a quick assessment from you as to the way the first half's gone for Craig Brown and his men.
Well, I think Scotland have come back very well after a quite disastrous start, because they gave away a lot of territory, a lot of ground, lost that superb goal and brought themselves back into the game, and they're looking more and more adventurous all the time with their in possession, but obviously working very hard at the back.
He's a very proud manager, and I've no doubt he'll have some words of wisdom to impart during the break. What he said yesterday is that Scotland play as a team. The other side might have more talented individual players, but it's Germany and Holland and Croatia tonight discover the Scots play as a team. Prosinecki turning away from Hendry, still retaining possession despite the lunge of the Coventry defender. Last chance maybe for Robert Kovac to get the ball forward. There's going to be a minute added here. Imperative once more that Scotland don't concede now. A bit of a mix-up there involving Elliott and Cameron, but they've come away with the ball long enough to stymie that move. Stimac. A controlled build-up again from Croatia. Again it involves Kovac here. Boksic appealing for the ball. Instead it bobbles through on this rather uneven surface to Prosinecki. Yanni. Not a successful cross there to meet. It was Don Hutchinson whose work tonight has mostly been in defence. But as the referee points towards the tunnel and sends the teams away, I think that Scotland will be relatively pleased that it's only 1-1. They went behind to Alan Boksic's excellent strike on 15 minutes, but Kevin Gallagher's riposte gives us a half-time scoreline here in Zagreb of Croatia 1, Scotland 1. Don't go away, the thoughts of Pat Nevin coming up.
John, thanks very much. What about that for a half, and what about that for a fight back from Scotland? Well, coming up after the break, we'll be going across to the Channel 5's newsroom for a special bulletin which will include a report from the England game earlier on the season. Well, what a second half we've got in store for you. At half-time, it reads Croatia 1, Scotland 1 in Zagreb. Boksic opened it for the Croatians, and then Gallagher equalised. Pat and I will be back in a moment, and I'll be getting Pat's views on the best and the worst of the first half. But first, we're off to Channel 5 newsroom for a news update, which is read for us tonight by Lee Wellings. Over to you, Lee.
Yes, England were this evening held to a disappointing 0-0 draw in Finland, which leaves them with just 1 point from their opening 2 World Cup qualifiers. Howard Wilkinson's team were denied victory in Helsinki by 2 controversial decisions from the French officials. After just 5 minutes, Teddy Sheringham looked set to score, but was brought down by the Finnish goalkeeper, who escaped punishment. And 5 minutes from the end, Ray Parler's effort was adjudged not to have crossed the line. Replays confirmed the goal should have been allowed. On to the day's main news now. Tributes have been flooding in for Scotland's First Minister, Donald Dewar, who died earlier today. Mr Dewar was in intensive care after becoming ill following a fall at his home in Edinburgh. And in North Yorkshire, police searching for 2 girls have confirmed the body they've found is one of the missing teenagers, 14-year-old Rochelle Corbet. The girls were swept away while wading down a local river. More news at 5 to 11, but for now, back to Steve and the second half of the football, Croatia versus Scotland.
Lee, thanks very much indeed. Well, not the score England wanted, was it? But I bet you Scotland are pretty happy. Here's the best of the first half.
Hoisted across dangerously, Hendry with the marking, and it was a clear opportunity which is spurned by the striker Balaban. What an opening this is for Croatia. He's going to cross. Oh, and it slithers through the penalty area. Saric, great ball. Here's Boksic into the area. Has to score this time. There was just no stopping him. And Croatia have got their goal. But if there is encouragement for the Scots, it is when they're going forward, and Cameron to Gallagher, equaliser! Kevin Gallagher brings Scotland level, and the Croatians cannot believe it. Oh, here's a tricky little run inside the area. The shot is into the side netting. The final effort from Boksic.
Pat, to say it was a completely one-sided first half, you'd think it would be a little unfair to Scotland, but then if you look at the statistics, actually...
Yeah, well, 70-30 we see there. They've got the ball a lot of the time. I would say most of that was in the first 15 in the last 10. Mick McCarthy had a great line to Craig Brown. He says if you give them possession, they'll keep the ball for the next 15 minutes, and that's what tends to happen with them.
Scotland looked all over the place in the first 15 though, didn't they?
Yeah, they came at them and they didn't have any answer. The back three really weren't in touch with each other at all, and they were getting ripped open, and you just thought, if they get a goal here, we could completely collapse.
It was sort of inevitable, wasn't it?
It was. To be honest, I don't think Matt Elliott got enough lot of cover there. He's turned around and looked to see where Colin is, because Colin should be, Bill McNeil alluded to it, Colin should have been covering behind him, and he'd left Boksic 1-on-1, and he's top class when he gets in that situation. But certainly Colin sort of made up for that later on. And
then I suppose if you're being honest, you thought then, oh dear. But it didn't happen, did it? What a fight.
Well, definitely. They came into the game, they started believing themselves. It was as if they needed that wake-up call, and then suddenly Scotland started making the odd chance here and there. And the goal itself was a little bit of luck when the ball broke to him down the line here, Johnson. But that's 2 goals he's made in 2 games. He's got up quick. He's lively. I do not know what the Croatian defender was doing there.
He was walking away slowly, wasn't he?
I was trying to figure out if he's decided that he's going off or offside, or he thinks the ball's going to be cut back. But it's a dreadful piece of defending. But it was a good little break, and it was a purple patch for Scotland there. They had 2 or 3 chances. They started getting up the park a wee bit more. They started believing themselves. And that middle patch of the game, I actually think Scotland probably had slightly the better of it.
You say they had a little bit of luck there, but you do need luck to play when you're playing against sides like Croatia away from home, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he was strong. He deserved it. I mean, we've got down the line quite a few times, both right and left. And Kevin Gallagher, he actually got down the line once as well and put dangerous balls across. But we'd rather look at the start with the chances they had, but I think that's been a good display. I mean, I think we're more than just happy, we're delighted with a 1-1 at half-time.
Yeah, you mentioned those chances right on the edge of the air. There was Colin Hendry, who went down, and we thought penalty.
I don't know what he was doing up there, but I think if you look at it slowly, he's thrown out his left leg and looking for it. I actually think he got it right. This was a really good chance here, and very, very unlucky. Getting down the right wing again, they get down the left wing. They're causing them problems there. Playing with the wing backs, the right wing back and the left wing back, the Croatians, there is a gap down there, and I think Craig Brown's got his tactics right. He knows that's where the danger can be created.
Okay, Pat, thank you. Now we've got something to clear up. Due to a technical problem, we were unable to announce the winner of last Saturday's competition after the game. However, we can now tell you that the winner of the signed Scotland shirt is Diane Pallis from Glasgow. The answer, of course, was England. Okay, as I said, we've got a great second half in prospect. Don't go away, will you? Hello again. 1-1 in Zagreb, and we were speaking just before the break, Pat, about what Craig Brown might be saying to the lads at half-time. And do you think he'll be targeting any specific Croatians to...
Yeah, I think the effect that Prosinecki was having at the start was quite incredible. And we were diving in at him, so I think they'll be saying close him down, get on top of him, and certainly for the last half, the last 20 minutes or so there, they did close him down, they pushed him back. He was doing a showboating 40 yards away from goal. That's fine, we can accept that, as long as and he's not got the pace to go past you if you don't dive in, so he'll be telling them to make sure you keep an eye on him and don't dive in.
Well, one of the results of that diving in early on, wasn't it, was giving free kicks away in really bad positions, or really good positions obviously for Croatia.
Yeah, and he's very, very dangerous, Prosinecki, from free kicks, and I noticed Scotland's wall actually jumped for one of the free kicks and the ball went straight underneath it. The coach has done his, Blažević has done his homework once again. He's a good coach and he knows about these things, but don't give him any chances in or around the box, because not only can he score and cause danger from shooting, his intricate passing and his intricate skills are pretty special, so keep Prosinecki as far away from the goal as possible.
Do you think the three at the back have sort of sorted it out a bit now?
I think they have now. I think Elliott and Hendry have been too far apart. They've not been covering each other. One has to go and mark, one has to go behind. Again, as I said, Billy McNeil spotted it a mile away, and it's actually both of them been guilty in separate occasions. But they seem to have sorted it out in the last half an hour or so there, because if you give Boksic any time at all, he looks as sharp as anything, and he'll certainly take chances.
One of the things that worries me about Colin Hendry, he seems to spend a lot of time on the ground.
Yeah, that's his thing. He does dive in, you know, and he is actually. It's always a last-ditch effort from Colin. And I suppose if you're not used to, you've not a lot of football you've been playing recently, and you're maybe tired a bit. Sometimes it's the easy thing to do. But that's been the big man style, and time and again over the years he's saved us with a dive in the line. But against top quality players, they'll start dragging the ball back, and don't, for goodness sake, dive in against Prosinecki.
And what about Burley? How do you rate? You identified him as a key player for Scotland tonight.
Yeah, well, he's been quite quiet actually in lots of areas, and maybe that's not a bad thing because he's been doing his job. He's defending. Hutchison, some of the time, he's been doing the defending as well. So both of them together, after getting maybe a wee bit overexcited early on and leaving that gap behind before, I think Craig Brown's obviously got the message on that they have to hold back and get that space, kill that space that Prosinecki was using well.
I don't know what you'll think of this, but I've got a Scottish friend who doesn't want them to win tonight. He said he's quite happy with the draw because he reckons that there's nothing worse than a Scottish side who think they're better than they are.
I think that's called the Alan MacLeod syndrome. We're all aware of that. No, we don't let ourselves...
I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt you because we can hear now from the manager, Craig Brown.
Craig, how satisfied were you with that first half performance?
Well, the performance could be better, but I'm very satisfied with the attitude. We went a goal down away from home against a formidable team, and we came back with good character. I know it's a cliche, but they did do very well. We've made a change for the second half. Alan Johnson's off, we've got fresh legs. Paul Dickoff on up front to give us a bit of energy up there. He'll play with enthusiasm. We'll play with enthusiasm, and we've got a great chance here to get something from this fixture.
Just briefly, it's got to be steady heads in the second half, steady nerves.
Exactly, yes. Alan Johnson was already yellow carded, one reason for him coming off, because the referee was watching for him. We've got to keep calm and be concentrating in the whole second half, and I think we've a chance.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we're all set for that second half, and Paul Dickoff is just getting a best luck message from the bench, as we heard from Craig Brown a moment or two ago over here. Alan Johnston is going off and Paul Dickoff is coming on in his place. So that's a chance for the former Manchester City player, for the current Manchester City player. And as you can see, a couple of Croatian players are also preparing for action. One of them, I can tell you, number 17 there is Igor Biškan, but that is Paul Dickoff, who is definitely on. The two Croatian substitutes will be Igor Biškan and Boris Zivkovic, I think. There they are. Alan Johnston hadn't been feeling too well, and I know that there was also some concern that the referee had sort of got him as a bit of a marked man, having cautioned him. So we'll confirm to you in a moment who has gone off as soon as these two Croatian players come on. I think the problem is that nobody has as yet held up a number. Here we go. This is good live television for you, isn't it? You'll know as quickly as we do. First of all, the confirmation maybe from the FIFA official down there of the introduction of Manchester City's Paul Dickoff. Great moment for him. He came on as a late substitute in San Marino. Just checking his studs, and well, maybe the electronics aren't working here. Not everything works in Zagreb. He really is struggling, isn't he? Ah, thank you very much. We could have told you that. Alan Johnston is off and Paul Dickoff is on. And at long last he can tell us that 17 and 4 is one switch. That means that Soldo has gone off for Croatia, and Biškan is on in place of him. He might eventually get around, he is doing, to tell us that Zivkovic is on in place of Jani. As the half goes on, I'll confirm all that to you, but substitutions, as you can probably hear in the booming public address system here, and Scotland are attacking. Dickoff's hoping to get a touch on the ball. He did, but not until it's gone out of play for a throw to the home nation. They've got a really excellent record here over their 10 years as Croatia, and Craig Brown is very angry at the moment. The FIFA official telling him to sit down. Now, Not quite sure what all that is about, but certainly the Scotland manager, who is normally the calmest of people, has been upset, and so is Archie Knox, who is trying to get his point across there to that FIFA official. Well, I'll try and find out through our technical resources as to what all that was about during the course of the match. Let's get back to the game. The ball is with Robert Kovac, the right back. Switch for Prosinecki. He's still out there, to Craig Brown's consternation perhaps. Boksic is still out there too. Balaban. And Boksic still, but Henry's there to dispossess him. It's going to be a backs to the wall exercise still for the Scots, I'm sure. More defending to do against Bishkan now. The man here, Bishkan, by the way, is the one that Liverpool put in a bid of £8 million for. There's a player down on the touchline. He is Daniel Saric, and he might be told to roll off the pitch. Now the referee's allowing him to continue, and the free kick has been given. And Saric is definitely okay because he's taken it already. And Prosinecki rolls the ball into his path again. There's a Herod cross. At this moment, just out of your shot, Craig Brown is on the touchline again, and the FIFA official hasn't gone near him this time. Well, he got fed up of telling him to sit down. .45 very important minutes in the destiny of this Group 6. Scotland beginning the night, of course, on top of the group with 6 points, 2 more than Belgium have at the moment. Croatia with only 1 as a result of that goalless draw with the Belgians. And it's Scotland attacking here, promisingly. Dickoff has rolled it into the area, but there's no way in for Cameron. Bishkan. Looked as though it might drop for Prosinecki there, but Henry reacted more quickly. Back by Kovac, Niko Kovac. Saric showed too much of the ball to Dickoff, and as a result Gary Naismith is forward. Good running from Naismith, clips it to Gallagher, who's one-on-one, and Gallagher's done well. He's won the possession. Burley. There's still an overlap here for the Scots, and the ball is eventually put behind for the corner kick. Had to be by Stimac as well. Promising move.
Well, it was a promising run from young Gary Naismith, wasn't it? He got himself into that box. Kevin Gallagher continued the good work, and look at the support that Craig Burley gave him, and almost got a good ball out of it all. But nice to see Scotland still prepared to attack when they get the opportunity.
They're in the contest. Hutchison's one of those, jostling for a little bit of space, and he's up there for it, but so for Croatia is the goalkeeper Pavlovic. Pavlovic hasn't had a lot to do apart from pick the ball out of his net once. I don't think he's had a save to make apart from that.
No, he hasn't been overworked in any way, but came and took that ball very, very confidently indeed.
Bishkan. Cleverly done once more by Prosinecki. Into the area, Boksic. Still turning, but this time he doesn't get it right in unison with Simic. The VIP area shows some very tense faces at the moment. Early moments of the second half, 5 minutes of it gone. But Craig Brown fervently believes that Scotland can get a good result here. A draw would be a good result.
A draw would most certainly be an excellent result, and you know, they're putting a lot into the game. They look perhaps an awful lot secure than they did the early stage of that first half, but still there is always the portent that Prosinecki's getting far too much room.
Well, they were on the rack for the first 20 minutes, to be honest, weren't they? But here comes Scotland now with the hard-working Cameron. He really has done well. He is a valiant trier. Colin Cameron, remember, only playing his 8th game for his country tonight. He'll be 28 later this month, but he's impressed. And he's on the ball once more with his Hearts colleague Naismith, though the word is that Naismith may soon be a Coventry City player. Burley. Chance for Dickoff, and a dribbler of a shot. Never likely to trouble a quality goalkeeper like Željko Pavlovic. Still, Dickoff will be delighted to have had a shot on goal. All strikers want that encouragement.
Well, that's right, the ground is cutting up a bit, John, and you know, you never know exactly what sort of flight it's going to get when it hits that ground.
Stimac through to Balaban. Taken on by Boksic, who's tremendously enthusiastic. And he's looking for the ball again from Prosinecki here. Prosinecki might not need him. Still going, Prosinecki into the area across Boksic. And a last-ditch clearance from Henry. As well, several thousand people stood in front of me, but I could see that blonde mane in the way when it had to be.
Well, wonderful work by Prosinecki, but what a great saving challenge by Colin Henry. Just as the lad was going to knock it into the net, Colin Henry got a hold of it. Brilliant.
The Croatians do have the corner. And there are 6 red and white checkered shirts in there. It'll be swung across by Kovac. Headed down and straight onto the boot of Henry this time. Stimac has stayed up. Oh, that didn't work, that little transfer there, but neither does Dickoff's ball. Simic. All looking for these darting little runs, and then Boksic uses his strength, cuts it across here. Naismith, well, he couldn't play the ball back to his goalkeeper, but he's done the next best thing and got it up almost to the halfway line. Dickoff's won it, but Stimac shows his skill. What great quality he has. Prosinecki rolls his foot over the ball. Here comes that deep one in again. Oh, problem now, and the substitute. Well, it was a tremendous overhead kick from Igor Bishkan, and a fine save as well from Neil Sullivan. But the crowd really stood there as one, roaring. They thought that Bishkan was about to get his name on the score sheet. He does have one international goal for Dinamo, the Dinamo Zagreb player. He scored earlier this season. And there it is again. Swings on it. No goal though. Prosinecki, which way to turn? Drives it wide. Here it is once more, enthusiastic effort, and well, Sullivan simply had to stand his ground. It was not a tough stop.
Well, I think that Neil Sullivan took it up exactly the right position, and but I for one were quite happy to see it go straight into his hands.
Scotland have a raid on here with Gallagher, slipping it through for Dickoff. He's one-on-one, Paul Dickoff, and he's got a free kick as well. He did that well. Kovac took him out. So Paul Dickoff just winning his second international cap, the former Arsenal player. Big night for him. He would have made his debut against England at Wembley last year, but in that European 2000 playoff match. But he had a knee injury at the time and couldn't respond to Craig Brown's call. He is doing now. Hutchison drills it over there. Elliott was at the back stick, but it didn't come to him. It's come to Naismith, and now it is with Elliott. Cameron, good ball in. Here's Hendry, and it's the wrong side of the net. He flung himself into what looked as though it might well be a scoring header. What a chance!
Well, it was a wonderful chance, wasn't it? Delightfully flighted ball, beat the defenders right into that back post. Colin Henry, who's normally so good in there and very accurate, just doesn't get the right connection. He plays it in the side net, but oh, what a lovely chance that was.
Kovac. And again, you have to say, Cameron played his part in that. I'm very impressed by him tonight. And there he is, right on cue, Cameron. And again, trying to nip this attack in the bud. There was no foul, just good strong play at the back this time from Tom Boyd, the Celtic marker. This time it's with Saric. Well, they haven't stretched Scotland as yet this half. Boxic will try now. Goes the other side of Weir, but he's surely too far. Well, but it shows who's willing to take that on, just how confident he is at the moment.
Well, he's really put a lot into the game, and you know, obviously every time that the ball goes up the pitch, he is a threat. I think he took on just a little bit too much there, but nevertheless, it was nice to see it go over the byline.
Croatia don't actually go to Scotland, to Hampden Park, until next November. Oh, and a back pass here, which almost let Dick off in. You do wonder how Croatia would react if Scotland got their noses in front. We saw how Scotland reacted. They came back courageously with that Kevin Gallagher goal. Gallagher here now has directed the ball right. Cameron's going to take it on. Well, they've got plenty of bodies around here now, they have Scotland. It's a cross from Burley. Free kicks given against the visiting country.
John, by no manner of means are Scotland out of this game. You know, they're a lot more committed, they're a little bit better organised, a little bit more solid at the back than they were in that first half, and they're certainly making an opportunity or two for themselves.
And there's a really positive header from Naismith, climbing way above Saric. I think that Craig Brown will be delighted with the play of his young men tonight. The Camerons and the Naismiths have done him proud.
Well, certainly Colin Cameron has put a lot into the game. He's been prepared to back up his front players. He's got himself in a good position, and he's been prepared to work hard as well, getting back.
Prosinecki, who really was running the show in the opening 20 minutes. That Kevin Gallagher equaliser just rocked them back a bit, Croatia. They will attack now with Pishkan, and now with Saric, and again everybody's getting up in front of us in the crowd just to see what Saric can deliver. And now they sit down again because it wasn't the best delivery. There is Miroslav Blažević, an outstanding coach of Croatia. He's been in charge for 7 years, just like Craig Brown with Scotland. Kept in by Saric. The Panathinaikos man clips it back. Dickoff working hard, he's come on with the fresh vigour. Boxic, it's gone through. Elliott's the one to shepherd his man away. He had to do too. Saric to Prosinecki, might hit a shot here! He certainly hit it all right, but it hit the inside of the upright, came back. It's not over yet though. The ball's still bobbling around Zivkovic. Well, that deserved a goal, to be fair to Robert Prosinecki. It was a tremendous try. Well, that really brought the crowd, everyone in the stadium here, to its feet, I think. And if there were a few who were jeering Prosinecki before the start of this match, they certainly would have been cheering him there.
Well, that's right, it was a wonderful effort. He knew exactly what he was doing, he saw the space. Beats the goalkeeper comprehensively. Lucky enough for Scotland to hit inside the post, it comes out, but look at the quality of the effort. The ball swerves, you wonder how it stays out.
You certainly do. You wonder how on earth it's come this way with a bend on the ball. Craig Brown is furious again, by the way, and he's on the touchline remonstrating with the fourth official, Bruno Derrien, but I think the referee might well be sending either Craig Brown or Archie Knox away, and Craig Brown has been sent from the dugout. Well, I don't think I've ever seen Craig so incensed. He was very unhappy immediately after the start of this second half, and now he's having to retreat. In fact, he's just down beneath me. He's still able to be in a position whereby he can see the game. He's just jogging up towards the press bench, the press seats, and is now standing where you can see him, but he has been banished from the touchline.
Well, that's right, and it is very unusual for Craig to be so animated. I really don't know entirely what's happened, but you know, obviously he's very much up for the game, and he sees his team giving him a real performance, and something has happened, but I honestly don't know what.
Well, in and amongst all that, we got another shot there of that Prosinecki effort thumping back off the post. It would have been Prosinecki's 10th international goal, and it would have been a beauty, you have to say. A little touch in here. Gallagher tries to wriggle away from his marker Kovac. The Scots have certainly looked better as an attacking force. Craig Brown's withdrawal has left Archie Knox in control on the touchline. Well, he's scrambling around on all fours down there, is Don Hutchison. Well, you have to say about the Scots, they've contested every ball tonight, as you would expect them to do. Well, it's been mayhem down on that touchline. Can the Scots create some mayhem inside the Croatian area? They've got a free kick, have they? And it's against Hutchison. The referee says that he took a dive. Hutchison looks horrified, puts his head in his hands, and, well, that would have got Craig Brown out of his dugout again if he'd have been down there. Boksic. There's an opportunity maybe here. Balaban. It's away by Elliott. The Scots are doing well. They're breaking very nicely at the moment. There's an overlap down the right. That's where the ball is transferred now by Burley. Swung back inside by Tom Boyd, and Boyd will make tracks here, and he's got the chance to cross a ball in. It wasn't quite telling enough though, it was straight onto the head of Stimac. Prosinecki. In a moment, when we get the chance, we'll tell you exactly what did happen down on that touchline, and in fact I think we're going to be able to do that now, because the ball has gone out of play. So let's hear from Steve Lee.
What happened was Craig Brown was given a warning in the first half by the fourth official and a strict lecture by Mr. Vessier, the referee. He gesticulated and complained over a decision. He got another warning and was sent out of the dugout by the referee, Mr. Vessier. As you can see, he's now sitting up with the press.
Well, Craig certainly from the start of the second half has not been amused by this official. And he's going to be horrified by that decision again. Although he's got a slight smile on his face there, Craig. I think he's a bit bemused.
I think he's got a point, John, because, you know, the referee, I think this second half has seemed also very, very fussy, and really he's given fouls for something that doesn't really exist. And I think that it looks as though he's given the benefit of the both of them to Croatia.
Well, there's a very vocal and vociferous crowd here in Zagreb, as you would expect. This is a World Cup qualifying tie, and they're trying to roar on their team. I remember Croatia were probably the best side not to qualify for the finals of Euro 2000, so they want to put that right now, having done so well in Euro 96 and in the last World Cup as well, reaching the semi-finals of the World Cup in France. He's turned him this time as Bishkan. Very watchful defending. Bishkan holding it up, slips it back here. This time the body behind the ball was that of Cameron. Well, they really are very attentive at the moment, this Scottish defence, and they're having to be. A lot of questions being asked of them at the moment. Has he run the ball dead? He has. Not even Boksic could do it that time. Well, don't forget Our late night film coming up later, The January Man, a comedy thriller starring Kevin Kline. Well, we've got a comedy here tonight. As far as Craig Brown's concerned, he's not happy, and that's why Archie Knox is down there. It's a black comedy, I think.
Well, you know, I sympathise with Craig because there's an awful lot of those films which were, as far as I'm concerned, innocuous, but they all seem to be going the one way, and I think that's what probably upset him. But the game is so very open just now, John, that you can imagine either side winning because neither side look particularly happy in defence, and Craig, I think, there is just a bit bemused about the whole thing.
Another very shrill blast on the whistle from the French referee, who's become a bit theatrical in this half, hasn't he? Talking of theatrical, some of the Scottish fans were telling me they'd been to the Caroli Niesbaum Theatre as well today. They love a bit of culture mixed in with the sport. Benji now, Zivkovic. The pressure intensifies. That's the substitute, Zivkovic. Plays in Germany with Bayer Leverkusen. Most of this Croatia side play either in Serie A in Italy or in Spain or Germany. A couple in the Premier League in England. They have a corner. They're looking to restore the lead that they had early in the match. But Sullivan, who's been ever present for Tottenham Hotspur this season, following his move from Wimbledon, held on. He's got very calm assurance about him, Sullivan.
Yes, that was a difficult ball, but it was one that was very important for him to come and take, and he took all the pressure off his defence without a problem.
Kozinecki still looking to find a way through. He'll have been so disappointed not to have scored when he hit the upright. He knew exactly what he was doing with that shot. Sullivan had no hope. He's got some more defending to do again now. Naismith will breast it down and keep it away from going for a corner. Oof. The ball spins away off the body of Saric, perfectly for Kovac. Heel drifted across here, Hendry's up for it. Well, Hendry and Elliott have done a manful job. Oh, Stimac shows his strength. Cameron really got the worst of that little tag match. Now there's danger. This is Boksic. Alan Boksic with the shot, and it trickles across the face of Sullivan's goal, and the keeper didn't even break sweat, and I don't think neither did the coach there.
No, I don't think that Boksic got the purchase on the ball that he wanted, and Neil Sullivan was in the perfect position, knew exactly where he was, knew he got his angles right, and it went harmlessly past the post. But you know, you worry when the forward, especially someone of his quality, gets so much freedom inside the box.
Well, they're very adept at creating that sort of space. And they're trying to do so again now through Robert Kovac. And another vital tackle won, and it's Matt Elliott who steers it to safety. Not just once, but twice. I think Craig Burley might do well to get through the full 90 minutes. He's been struggling with a hamstring, not played much football, and might just be beginning to show. It's quite a heavy pitch.
It's a very heavy pitch, and it's astonishing how well that he stood up to the whole thing.
The Scottish fans roar as Burley wins the ball. So there you go, he's okay. I noticed that Stephen Presley, whose birthday it is today, is warming up. Here's a great chance. Gallagher in space. Can he finish? He'll square it. Cameron! He can't believe it, and neither can we. It was Don Hutchison in the end. I thought he was going to swear it to Cameron, but he pulled it across to Don Hutchison. And a man with a great goal-scoring record, Hutchison, you would have expected him to finish.
Well, it was a magnificent laid back from Kevin Gallagher. You saw Don Hutchison really set himself up and then really just scrambled it past the post. Now that was a golden opportunity. He seemed to slow up, he seemed to steady himself, but just didn't quite hit the target.
Well, that would have silenced them here in Zagreb. Hutchison, who scored against San Marino, would have treasured this goal even more, but it missed by an absolute whisker, didn't it? Here he is taking a free kick and pinging it through straight into the arms of Pavlovic. Yeah, Stephen Presley, for one, is warming up on the occasion of his 27th birthday. He might get a chance to come on. The referee says play on this time. Play on they do, but Croatia have the possession and the ball is fired over the top. Balaban will hook it in here. Breasted down, Prosinecki. Well, not even he could make much of that. The referee will halt play here before the throw-in can be taken because there's a Croatian man on the ground. Boksic has had an outstanding match, but he is a player who suffers with a lot of injuries, and here he catches one in the face, I think, from the right boot of Tom Boyd. Well, in any event, Davor Vugrinec was all stripped and ready for action, so I think we're going to see him shortly. He's a dangerous character as well. 3 goals in 9 international appearances, the Lecce man. He has just moved into this area from Trabzonspor in Turkey. But Boksic is leaving the scene on a stretcher. Well, without wishing him any ill, Scotland will be relieved about that, and they'll be quite happy for him not to come back.
Well, he certainly has been a threat all evening. He took his goal really very, very well and got on the end of won a few chances, but he's always a threat and he's put so much into the game that wouldn't do Scotland any harm for him to go off.
No question of having to give the ball back. This was the position Croatia were in anyway, and a little nutmeg there. Went through the legs of Hutchison. It's now nicked back in, but that's meat and drink for Sullivan. You can see how the pitch is cutting up here. In common with the rest of Europe, there's been a lot of rain around in Croatia. There are 17 minutes left here for Scotland to hold on for what would be a critically 1 point. We're already 5 points clear of Croatia, so they'd retain that 5-point gap. Important to take into the next match, which is a home tie with Belgium. Croatia go to Latvia, or have Latvia as guests next. But Craig Brown does have a belief that Latvia are going to score a win against somebody in this group. Not many mugs in international football these days. Oh, Boksic looks the worse for wear, doesn't he, at the moment? So it's Scotland have a corner, and Hendry's up for it. It just missed him. Falls instead to Hutchison, and well, there was no foul there, none given. So Croatia emerge. Kovac. Prosinecki's back in the right back position as a result of that. Zivkovic. Stimac waves Prosinecki away. Boksic clearly was hurt there. The big question is, will he return? But for the moment, this is Kovac, Niko Kovac. Zivkovic looking to manoeuvre a cross ball, but it looks like being too long.
That's a factor of the Croatians' play that has disappointed. When they get themselves into positions on the wide side, they haven't delivered any real telling balls, or not many of them anyway.
Boksic will not come back, and his replacement, Davor Vugrinec. Just been transferred for £250,000 from Trabzonspor. He was the top scorer in Croatian football before he went to Turkey. And Boksic leaving with what appears to be a shoulder injury. I thought that the boot of Tom Boyd had probably caught his face. There goes Paul Dickoff. No way through for him. Craig Burley. Well, what it does mean is that Croatia have now used all their 3 substitutes, so they can use no more in the remaining quarter of an hour.
I think those Scottish defenders will be feeling a little bit of relief that Boxey has had to go off, because he was a constant threat throughout the game, and we always felt worried when anything was getting knocked through that middle.
And we'll never forget the goal he scored, which was clinically taken, to say the least. Bishka on to Prosinecki. To be honest, maybe even more on Prosinecki now. The ball bobbles off him as he sought to make a way through the middle. He was ploughing a furrow on this pitch. Cameron does well once again. Naismith hit it long, and Gallagher will gallop after it in company with Robert Kovac. Been a lot of bodily contact in this game. As I said, Billy, an entirely different contest to the one in San Marino, isn't it, where there was very little passion, to be honest.
Oh, this has been a super game. It's been very, very much thrust and go. Both sides have had the opportunities to score, and both of them look perhaps more happy in attacking than doing defence.
Well, from his new vantage position, Craig Brown can now see that Paul Dickoff has been booked for that challenge. He did actually make the challenge from behind, and footballers know they cannot do that. So I'm not sure that even Craig Brown would complain about that at the moment. They might complain here though now. Chance on the edge of that Scottish area, and the ball is fired wide for Saric's cross. Well cut out by Naismith again. Naismith and Cameron have certainly come of age as international players tonight.
Well, I think everyone's putting on a show, and they've really worked very, very hard to get themselves back in the game and keep themselves in the game and keep themselves in with the chance of perhaps snatching a victory.
13 minutes are remaining in Zagreb as Prosinecki, the key figure, takes the corner for Croatia. This place will explode if they score again, I can tell you. It's that sort of an atmosphere, and Croatia are looking for a goal again. They're almost camped around the edge of the Scotland penalty area, but the ball has found its way up towards the halfway line in Scottish possession. And it was Stimac who had to make a vital interception there. Scotland have certainly competed well in this second half, no question about that.
They certainly have, John, and they've produced a little bit of a threat that they could perhaps get up there and create a chance that will give them a winning goal.
Well, Colin Hendry, looking back, had that great chance with the header, didn't he?
And Don Hutchison's chance.
Correct. But they have to defend once more. Bishkan rolling it for Prosinecki. We don't need to tell you how dangerous he is, and he's got the cross ball in. It's met by Elliott though. Oh, the threat has not gone away yet. This game is far from over. Dragged down, goal kick. And well played, David Weir there. He's a good man-to-man marker, David Weir.
The back three have come of age, really. You know, earlier on they were getting pulled all over the place. There was gaps in behind them, and we saw Boxey score that goal. But really, they've been more and more settled, very, very much steadier, and they haven't looked as though they're going to lose anything this second half.
I hope those are prophetic words, Billy. Well, Blažević did say yesterday that he really feared Scotland. I don't think he was just saying it. He does admire the work that Craig Brown has put in, and the technical staff alongside Craig. And they're very good friends off the field, the two of them. Blažević has obviously been the quieter of the two, though, tonight.
I think he's feeling the pain just a little bit. I saw the cigarette come out there just a little while ago, John, and that would maybe indicate that he's not as happy as he was earlier on.
And he doesn't even smoke. Dickoff turning to retain possession. He'll do well to win a corner out of this, and in fact what he's done is play the ball back, and Hutchison's in there tussling for it. Didn't quite get onto the end of Boyd's cross, and now a slip there leaves Prosinecki to get halfway inside Scottish territory, and he'll now drift the ball wide. A bit of fancy stuff here. Naismith's got more work to do as a defender, and the ball is cut across, and that's Sullivan's. 10 minutes to go, and they're looking anxious. Stimac. Oh, that's not an area to dally with the ball. And the referee says that is a fair shoulder to shoulder by Kevin Gallagher. So Scotland have this throw in midway inside the opposition half. A few Oriental visitors in the crowd there. And they've all been mingling well, the Scots, the Croats, the Chinese here. They love their football. Away down the right goes Niko Kovac, but does no better than run it out again with that man Cameron beavering away at his heels.
He's worked very, very hard tonight, hasn't he, Colin Cameron? He's been prepared to break into the box at the other end, and he's been prepared to do his share of work getting back to cut out the opposition.
It's a very proud nation, this Croatia. I remember all the talk before Euro 96 in which they were competing, and the last World Cup, saying probably there isn't a nation anywhere in the world who are more proud of playing for their country than these fellows. And the crowd are really up for this, but they're not happy with this decision because, well, they weren't happy, but it's a free kick for Scotland, which Don Hutchinson is about to take. Scotland not rushing it exactly.
No reason to, John.
Dickoff, who's not a big fellow, is on the penalty spot. Elliott, who is a big fellow, is also closing in, and the goalkeeper will hold the ball without difficulty. And he'll then lump it into the opposition half, will Pavlovic. And a missed header. There might be something on here. It's one-on-one into the area, and they've got around him. And they did well again there, Scotland. I don't think he quite believed he was in the clear there, did he, Balaban?
Well, it took a bit of time for the ball to come down, John, didn't it? It took a bit of time for the ball to come down, but did you see how quickly Scottish defenders got round about him to block his effort? Excellent defending, they've not given up yet.
Spoken like a former Scotland centre-half, Billy McNeil. It was Vugrinets, my apologies for that, who was through. I've got to say these Croatian numbers are not the best in the world. But Vugrinets would hope he'll get another chance in these remaining 7 minutes. Saric, who's not been as influential in the second half as he was in the first, nor as Prosinecki, to be fair. He did hit the upright to Scottish alarm. Kovac, still Kovac, they're letting him go. Hendry's tracked him. And the referee has to decide who the ball came off last. The decision is that it was Hendry, so Croatia have a corner kick. With 6 minutes showing on the electronic scoreboard here to be played. Well, Hendry held it up a long time there, but now it's played short to Kovac. They're all in here for this one. It's an in-swinger headed away very firmly. Comes back Stimac. Robert Kovac. A left-footed delivery, could have gone anywhere, and as it is now, it's booted away by Burley. Well, it'd be cruel on Scotland if they conceded now with just 5 minutes remaining. Saric. Then Vugrinets. He won't get there for that. And Scotland can bring it away again, and the locals start to panic a little bit. There's Cameron, aided and abetted by Burley and now by David Weir. Build a Scottish move inside the last 5 minutes. And a free kick won by Cameron. Blažević getting more and more agitated by the minute. He knows how vital a home win is. You don't want to drop points at home. And can Scotland do even better than 1 point? A free kick he can't even bear to watch. It's drifted in by Hutchison. Elliott's gone for it. It's lost and hacked away. They were in a bit of disarray there when Pavlovic didn't hold on. And Hendry will transfer it up towards the edge of that area again. That's a free kick. Against Gallagher, whose goal it is, of course, that has got Scotland into this position. It's his first goal, by the way, Kevin Gallagher, as we just look at that incident again. Kevin Gallagher's goal tonight, his first in 3 years since he scored against Latvia, his first in 18 matches for his country. What a vital one it may prove to be. It's not over yet though, because Prosinecki has played a ball down the line. And it's crossed in here, and Sullivan clings on. And Scotland are clinging on as well, exactly 3 minutes left.
Well, Sullivan, without having any great saves, he's nevertheless been very, very confident and very, very competent when it's come to taking ball on what is a tricky surface.
Yeah, he's had a very good night, Neil Sullivan. And all credit to those in front of him, Colin Hendry, Matt Elliott and David Weir. But Sullivan there has exuded calm assurance. I wonder if Craig Brown will be allowed to run down onto the pitch to salute his Warriors if when that final whistle goes, if they've managed to hold on. A few cameras I can see are being trained on the Scottish coach, and he's just hoping now that they can hang out for 2 more minutes. They can do no wrong at the moment. Here goes Don Hutchison. And that's got to be a free kick against Stimac. It must be a yellow card. Oh no, if Hutchison is being shown a yellow card here. Well, the referee did warn him about a dive earlier in the half.
I think it's difficult to match anyone diving in that position in this stage in the game, because it looked to me as though he'd taken the defender to the cleaners.
Referees are really clamping down ferociously on this diving business at the moment. Very hard decision to make. Oh, and great hustling here from Cameron, who's never stopped running all night. He just couldn't keep his feet, unfortunately. And the Croatian fans are fearing the worst, with just over a minute remaining of the 90. Cameron does the sensible thing this time in playing it to Dickov. He's got to try and release. Well, it wasn't. He's not the one who is offside. It was Kevin Gallagher who was in the offside position, not Craig Burley.
You know, that was so unlucky, because Craig Burley, you know, he put in a real shift here, got a good run, but unfortunately Kevin Gallagher had gone ahead in an offside position.
Here come Croatia, little back here, and it's wide! What a miss! Maybe this is a night for Scotland to celebrate. Balaban there, stolen between the central defenders. In fact, a corner's been given. Well, we can tell from this, it must have been a brilliant clearance. It was Matt Elliott who took it off Balaban's toe end.
He does really well, doesn't he, Matt? He doesn't lose sight of the ball, gets it past the post somehow, and really saves the day for Scotland.
Well, everybody in the stadium is on their feet now. 10 seconds of the 90 minutes are remaining. The ball has to come back into Sullivan's penalty area. There might be a free kick here for Scotland. There is, to enormous relief.
No, that was a real saving challenge by Matt Elliott, wasn't it? And we've seen that so often in the second half, but we've still got 4 minutes to play.
Certainly have. Scottish glasses, Croatian headscarf. Well, there's certainly been plenty of chances in this game, and now this is another yellow card, and the recipient will be Niko Kovac. free kick for Scotland, more importantly. Scotland, by the way, are trying to make a switch and to bring on Gary Holt, the Kilmarnock man, just to stiffen things up for these last 4 minutes that we're well into now. But there's been so many chances when you look back. The Hendry header, the Hutchinson shot. Elliott's played it up here, and they're going to have a corner out of this, the Scots, I think. Oh, throw in. Still Holt hasn't got on. The referee is going to allow him on now, so it'll be about a 2-minute appearance for Gary Holt in place of Paul Dickoff. So one substitute to be replaced by another. Dickoff looks disbelieving. But Scotland will be delighted in a moment to be in this position, not just the scoreline, but the ball is up on a line with the Croatian 18-yard area. So Gary Holt comes on, and what a time to come on for only your second cap. He made his debut last month against Latvia. I don't know whether, well, Craig Brown must have sent a message down to Archie Knox about that. Holt's got the job of marking Prosinecki for these last 2 minutes, I would think, of time added here in Zagreb. Scotland attacking with Naismith. Croatia have the ball. Not for long though, don't. Hutchison. And again he'll take it up into that corner as far as he can. But overall I would think that Craig Brown will be a very, very proud man tonight, Billy McNeil.
Well, I think he's entitled to, because obviously the team got off to a very bad start, and it looked very ominous for us then, but they fought their way back into the game. They showed great courage and appetite and attitude in this second half as well.
A storming run down the right from Tom Boyd. Gallagher's tried to pull away, but the ball will end up, well, in his grasp, but almost back at the halfway line, which is where it is now with Hutchison. Well, this has been a brave effort against a talented side who in the first 20 minutes looked as though they were going to run Scotland ragged. That did not turn out to be the case, and Hendry's only too happy to boot it almost into the top deck. Another ball's arrived, surprise, surprise. This must be Croatia's last hope of a winning goal. Saric to Prosinecki. All eyes on the referee, apart from these Croatian fans hoping that Prosinecki can deliver here. And they stick to their test, to the Scots. Agonising last second for the 3,000 fans who've made the journey to Zagreb. They mustn't concede now. Prosinecki is still in space down the right, but he's given offside. It's a huge cheers from the Tartan Army.
Well, I thought it was a tight decision myself, but I'm perfectly happy to accept it from the linesman.
I'm sure you are, Billy. And if Scotland get this draw, it'll mean they have 7 points. Croatia will have only 2, but with a game in hand. The referee looks at that watch. Still he says play on. The ball's in the opposition half. That'll do. It's a terrific result for Scotland, and Kevin Gallagher's goal has been enough to earn Scotland a 1-1 draw here. That's the final score. Croatia 1, Scotland 1.
Thanks, John. Got any fingernails left? Pat Nevin hasn't. We'll be talking to him in a moment. I'm speaking to him. Very, very average performance against San Marino on Saturday, didn't we? Tonight we saw something very, very different. The man who had to watch most of the second half from the stands, the manager Craig Brown, is speaking to us now.
Craig, you had to watch that from the sidelines at the end, but a proud performance from your side.
Yeah, very proud of every player, and a bit ashamed of myself, but I didn't say anything. I just gesticulated that I thought the free kicks that were being given against our strikers were wrong, and they were being tackled from behind, so I'm very disappointed about that, but a wonderful result for us. We must now consider that the courage shown by this team is exceptional, and we can go on, I hope, to qualify from the group.
Now, you're known as one of the mild-mannered managers. Has that ever happened to you before?
I've got to say in the past, yes. But on this occasion it was an exceptional occurrence, I felt, and you know, I do apologise, but I think I can't say anything about the referee, but I'd like him to look at it in the video.
and the way your players battled, particularly Cameron midfield, some running, some battling, it was a tremendous performance.
Yeah, Cameron was magnificent, and I do think that all players should get great credit. Remember, we were depleted. We came to one of the most difficult away venues in Europe. We've not done the job yet in terms of qualification, but we've given ourselves a really good chance now, and I'm delighted for the fans who have come listen to them, and for the players.
Okay, Craig, thanks very much.
A pleasure, thanks.
Right, so there's confirmation of the result, and that's what it does to the table. How about that? Played through 7 points. Couldn't be much better. What a second half, and what a performance.
That was a fantastic performance. That's one of the best performances I've seen for a Scotland team in many, many years, against a very good outfit. And Blažević was saying before the game that Scotland were a tough outfit, and that they had a great spirit about them. There was a self-fulfilling prophecy because they showed such incredible spirit all the way through.
It was nerve-wracking, wasn't it? There were chances either end.
Well, in the goal at the end of it, you're thinking, well, maybe Scotland actually had the better chances, you know. I mean, this one in particular, Prosinecki was saying at half-time, don't give him any time near the box, and that was a wonderful strike. He's picked it out. Keeper, I have to say, wasn't getting anywhere near it, and it was just pure fortune, nothing else. But Scotland started making chances there. Prosinecki exhausted by this point. Great ball in, and Kevin Gallagher does exactly the right thing, and that's just incredibly unlucky by Don Hutchison. Very, very unlucky, because it just shaved the post.
Really, Prosinecki is a great player when he wants to play.
I was saying he was closed down. Every single Scotland player went against him, closed him down, doesn't give him half an inch at any point during the game. And I mean, that wasn't the only chances Scotland had. There was Colin Hendry's header, which was unfortunate. Yeah. Craig Burley was through with an offside at the end, but he was never offside, and that was a 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper. So in actual fact, Scotland, I could almost argue, maybe a wee bit biased here, almost argue deserved the 3 points.
Great spirit and a great rearguard action. Matt Elliott, one of many, many last-ditch tackles today.
Yeah, both Matt and Colin Hendry were quite exceptional. I think Colin, after maybe a shaky start right at the beginning, first 15, but he got himself out of it. This is a wonderful tackle by Matt Elliott, and I think there was 2 or 3 Scotland players every single time it got near that ball. They were putting everything in the way of it, and again a special mention for Colin Hendry. A lot of pressure from a lot of areas, and he had a great game tonight. A classic, I hate to say it, Braveheart performance for the big man.
I wish he hadn't. And very, very briefly, Pat, you couldn't wish to be really in a better position.
Yeah, in the end, it's a great night for Scottish football, and what was a very sad day for the Scottish nation.
Okay, Pat. Right, well, there was one other result tonight, which all eyes were on, and there it is. Finland 0, England 0 in Group 9, and that's what it does to the table. England played 2 right on the bottom with 1 point. Okay, well, our next football here on 5 is in the UEFA Cup. Liverpool travel to the Czech Republic to face Slovan Liberec. That's on November the 9th. Make sure you join us for that. My thanks for Pat for joining us again tonight. Well, a draw for England wasn't what was required, but for Scotland it was just perfect. Goodbye.